since it is globally banned, it will be the Nidalee to come through instead. And that's just going to leave Ashe. Definitely one of the strongest bottom lanes to get an Ashe first pick, I would say, in the LCK.
Yeah. Renekton immediately the follow-up here for Clear, as well as Zyra. So you already have really strong top lane and an extremely fast clearing jungle with this duo.
And the Nidalee's taken away. Sejuani does feel like pretty viable in this situation just because it pairs well with the Ashe, but isn't going to be as strong into the Zyra. Will not be able to match the Clear, will not be able to make the same impact in the early game. Instead, it will be Viego to come through here. It does make you wonder if FAKER just locks up the Azir, and there was never really any doubt.
True.
As I think some people might be critical of, again, the reliance on the Azir, but if you want to show as little as possible before playoffs, this is just a strong set of champions. No secrets here.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Viego into Zyra personally. I feel like if you fall behind it, you get behind so far in tempo. But so Rel stocks immediately spike up.
Yeah, with Leona gone too, I feel like this might be an error. They could just go Rel here first and then grab Misfortune, it feels like. Unless there's a trap pick they're worried about. That seems like a pretty easy rotation for this draft for BNK.
There's also Rakan to consider. Duro, a very big Rakan player, and it has not been denied from him. So we're just going to lock in the Misfortune and just wait.
Yeah. Just want to have the support counter pick. This means that Keria should lock the Rel, unless... Yeah. No, he's just, it's the orange pick is a consideration for top lane in this.
It's Senna Ornn bot, Ashe mid, Azir top.
What about Ashe top into Renekton?
No.
Slow him down.
Ashe
Keep that croc
jungle,
away.
Viego top, Azir 80k. Wait.
Yeah, it's GP. I think is probably a better option here. This comp has insane scaling. It feels like we've gone back to the Genji days. If you're okay, gonna be the Kennen instead. But if you go back to the GP Azir drafting, old school Genji drafts, we used to see a lot of that back in 2021, 2022. Duro looking for the Nautilus response here since the Rel was taken away. I feel like the better way to have played this one out for BNK's bottom lane would have just been to grab the Rel because they can't take the Misfortune away from you and then have that really strong synergy there that already works well with the Zyra. Instead, they ended up with Nautilus into Rel, which is a little bit... I mean, it's okay, but it's a little bit weak, I feel. Pretty strong into dive if the Viego does have that opportunity down there on the bottom side. You have a lot of staking power in the roots, etc. Very difficult to kill under turret when there's a Nautilus there. Otherwise, the draft here for BNK feels pretty good. You have really nice setup, single target CC. You have some combo setup with the Zyra for the bullet time. It's not as strong as the Rel engaged, but it can be quite nice.
How it goes as we hop into the rift for game number 1.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Here we go, game 1 as T1 have grouped in the top lane. All 5 members here to come. And Closer's like, well, I'm gonna have to take Valkyrie first. And that he will. Duro able to proc his Aftershock, I believe, so he gets away.
He's fine. Very nice to get the Valkyrie out of Closer early. Ashe level 1, incredibly strong. Ashe and Braum, even stronger. Why that was banned away. Clear will avoid the slow and also slice and dice at level 1. So 2 awkward ability takes here for BNK as a result of that level 1 play. Pretty successful here for T1. Clear is not going to be, it's not going to be the end of the world for either of these solo laners to have their mobility options at level 1, but it does hurt their lane pressure.
Closer says, no, I'm just going to use it to harass. Valkyrie.
It's a poor performance of it all overall as Keria's going in.
Oh, going in, and Hannah is, well, actually it was Raptor. He is going to be 100-0. First blood does go over to T1 just like that, but BNK are fighting back. Owner going to be taken out himself, and that is a trade of junglers. as the collapse did come in afterwards. Meanwhile, Henna is winning this bottom lane at the moment.
Damage. There's not enough time for Faker to get over here and try to isolate him. Owner will ultimately come up here and start these grubs off. Looks like he's just going to get the key one that you want to get. And then Raptor will come over here and try to grab the second 2. That was a nice little timing that Owner found to get in there and get that one away. Faker did get pushed out of lane. Closer actually has a pretty big advantage now and will crash this wave in. So lost farm for Faker in the mid lane. And also that guarantees the second and third grub go to Raptor. They're not Raptors, but...
Yeah, we have Raptors now. They used to be Wraiths. Times change.
The white being a big exchange there. And his ultimate super useful defensively there as the cleanse. But T1 will get the dragon as a result of this. So we've got part of the top side objective. We'll get the full bottom here on that dragon. We'll see what comes with the second Drake here. Get a bigger clue on how much this really means. The individual stats of this will be relatively useful. It's not Grasp Vizier or anything like that. It's not going to be super tanky. We'll be straight to Hextech. So I feel like we're headed to a Chemtech Soul with how the else
quote-unquote in the meta. It's not really in the meta. We see a lot of Kennen, but it's almost always AP because your spacing basically has to be perfect. Your range isn't that long on the auto attacks, but obviously it's longer than the Renekton, especially this matchup can be very difficult. By the way, it is Infernal Soul.
All right.
In this game.
Feeling great for T1 with a 2 Drake lead. And yeah, it's in Zeus' meta.
Picks up a couple of components.
Like, literally T1 are playing tennis with B&K. Like, oh, you guys went for the cannon? He has TP, by the way, and now we're doing the Herald that you guys didn't start earlier. And we have full control over the map. They have a teleport ward for this cannon as well, so Zeus can just come in. We'll clear the said ward at least.
Yeah, the issue with AD Kennen is that those teleport flanks, kind of whatever. It's like, oh, well, we got our very fed Kennen there, that's good, but the flank itself is like, well, they ulted us and he doesn't have any AP.
Closer TPs, and T1 is going to give this up, it looks like.
Yeah, I feel like this is actually good. Like, I feel like Zeus should just stay bot and try to get tier 2.
No, exactly, and that's what he's going to do. You know, even if you TP in with AD Cannon, obviously your ult's not going to do a lot of damage. There still is the utility of it there, but he could have just TP'd in, not as a flank, but just to help fight with his team. But he's not quite a big threat just yet. But he is a big threat to turrets, and T1 kind of cautiously give this one up, get a TP out of Closer. And none of these turrets are really killable here right now with this Herald. Unless they get a kill here and clean this one up, they are going to commit to this even though it's at 90% health.
Yeah.
And
so
they just walk away.
Hey, they got it to half health. And this is good too. I think Owner, you know, there's not much happening. He's able to join on bot, and there's nothing that Claire can do.
There's out macro. Yeah. Just getting out macroed super hard. It's a 2-kill game, but it's a 3,000 gold lead for T1. Interrupt him. But Dragon is up in 15. Zeus is getting half of this turret. Can still just go bottom.
Okay, well, Clear is just going to try to get in onto Zeus. There's the Slicing Maelstrom for the stun, and it's enough autos to get the kill. Zeus wins the 1v1. Clear had it. He'd had enough, and he said, I need to pull the trigger. I need to do something, but instead he'll just go down.
And they don't start the Dragon. They give it up. And Clear all-ins to die. And now T1 gets Soul Point. And Duro is hoping that maybe he could catch this cannon in the top lane. Maybe put some deep vision up. But Zeus is long gone, miles away.
Yeah. He's really a thinking man's game. So he's going to have a ton of tanky stats as well.
Yeah, because then he just, I mean, he does a decent amount of damage, but he just becomes this utility engage DPS. Like,
he pretends he left, but actually he just like zooms in right when they approach the wave. So just even more oppressive. They want to take down this mid-tier 1. Looks like Faker just going to tap that once. Big flank right now from Clear, who is still looking to try to find some kind of usefulness in this game, and he's going to be spotted, so there's no more flank.
Zeus has TP, and Closer cannot stop him. So Looks like maybe they were going to try to look for the flank to come back, or rather just the engage here on the
start Baron.
They're just going to start Baron instead and say, look, 1 dragon versus 1 Baron. We already have 3 dragons. That's going to be what they grab. Nice fadeaway here from Raptor. They're going to TP for this.
I mean, they might be able to get in. The damage, though, is so fast on this one that it's definitely going the way of T1. Let's see what this fight looks like, as a lot of damage goes into Duro, but that's the first reset for the Viego. And look at Clear, he's so far ahead of the team. Down he will go. Keria might pay the price, but it's still the fight for T1, as now you got the TP coming in from the blue team. Faker looking for a bit more, looking for Closer, who does have to flash the sweep. And is even kind of losing the trade, but the big one does get stasised by Faker. Nicely done. Flash comes in as Red wins as well. And he's going to get that kill. T1 finally finding a big fight. And now Henna kind of alone against the Viego, who is quite fed, and he will not win that fight in any universe. Is that just the game, Wolf?
I think that's just the game. I mean, 40 seconds on both 80 carries here for B&K. They have Baron. They have a cannon wave. Instead, it looks like they're just going to dot the rise and cross their T's here a little bit. But that was a pretty disastrous, fight on the Baron for B&K, but they were so behind the 8 ball because T1 made it look like they were going for the Dragon and then rushed over very quickly to the Baron with the top prio that they had. I mean, Zeus was starting now.
And now he's got Wit's End. This cannon is just off the wall with how insanely fed he is. Even Faker's got a death cap. I mean, nothing has happened in this game, but it's still a 9,000 gold lead.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of macro happened.
Yeah.
Not a lot of killing until that last Baron fight. Now they have the macro and the killing. And that means big items.
It's a good combo. And, well, they're going to be looking for bot turret and inhibitor, but 5 members, 4 members and a half. You know, Clear's kind of in mid. He's like, oh god, I gotta go top, but I can't deal with the cannon. I can't deal with this guy alone. Clear already learned that, and that was before the cannon had 4 items.
Yeah, I feel like Zeus just right-clicked on the turret and then, like, stretched his hands.
Yeah, and now once again, look at Duro. He's just like, I gotta hook something. I'm gonna hook a minion. Obviously not on purpose, but just desperation on the side of B&K. Down will go Keria, but the carries here on the side of T1 are now very fed. Zeus getting 1v2'd. He will trade 1 for 1. And Guma is still alive, as well as Owner getting resets in the back line. Faker gonna go in, get stunned. Does go into the stasis, but I'm not sure that he gets out. Oh, he does! The sweep into the flash! And that is a beautiful way to end the game. T1 clean. Super clean here in this first one, and will take it down up against B&K to take the lead in the series.
Say what you will about Faker's mechanics here in round 2 on a lot of other champions, but you put the man on the Azir, and he's still got the hands.
But it does show that B&K were thinking about it. They will ban it away. The Zyra also taken off the board, even though it felt like the Zyra didn't do all too much, which leaves Rumble for free.
Yeah. Do not blind Renekton when Rumble is up. Do not blind Cassante when Rumble is up. Sorry, he was like, oh, my bad, I misclicked. I pressed the top icon, sorted by top champions, and then just a few, squares off there. This does leave Ashe Sejuani, which feels pretty good.
Also, if Zeus is in form and he's playing like that and he's taking advantage of Renekton, we've seen players do it with Kennen into Rumble as well. I mean, maybe they just say, we're not too scared about Rumble, we'll just take care of him in the side lane and just not really try to team fight, but they do have Ashe and Lilia now.
I think that if Closer shows a mid pick here, then it's hard for Faker to actually not try to opt for a counter pick. If they end up going for Zeus, just counter pick into the Rumble, then Faker can get choked out really hard. And it's weird to say like Faker's champion pool is small, considering the amount of champions he's played over his career, but right now it feels quite small. So, especially with the Lilia lock in here, I do feel like you can protect this Rumble now that the Ashe was locked in, that they went for the Lilia. Question is, what is Closer going to play? Is it just going to be Corki? Not going to be a Closer pick at all, doesn't look like here, with the Jhin to be locked.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, Yone's available, Corki's available. Maybe he didn't want to blind Yone, even though it feels very good in that comp, because then Faker just plays Corki. But yeah, it's just Jhin.
So now they could just lock Kennen if they feel like Zeus can play Kennen into Rumble. Feels like one of the best options. Camille will be the opt-in with this composition, but they already have a lot of CC. Faker will look to lock this Corki in. Lucian has really fallen out completely here as a response to this.
He doesn't look all too confident about it. I mean, there's not really a lot of other picks that Faker has played recently other than like Tristana. So it's just going to be Corki, which does get blinded fairly often nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's not too surprising.
We could see Closer play Lucian here. Couldn't end up playing. I mean, there's a lot of other picks he could go for that have Permafrost synergy, but they all feel very fringe. Like, is he really going to want to pull out his classic Silas? It's just going to be the Zeri. So, kind of forgot about this one. This one always feels like a pick that is a trap, but has just been so winning in the mid lane right now that I need to respect its power. As the final pick here will be Duro's.
Yeah. I think it's good, especially because they have that Jhin. There's that Rakan.
Yeah.
It's a bit awkward, but it is Duro, and he likes the pick.
It's really hard into this comp, though. You get shredded so easily. And Poppy feels very good into it, if that is in fact going to be locked in here. Yeah. Keria is laughing, but then the smile faded away when he looked over to Guma. I think he's still going to get to lock this one in. Poppy being a support pick that's kind of fringe right now, but feels very strong into Leona, feels very strong into Rakan, feels very good with the Camille. Bard feels very strong as well. You know, you highlighted it earlier.
I meant it for the BNK side, but we end up with it anyway.
Yeah. I think it would have been fine for either side. Does feel very good into the Jhin lane, though, and very powerful with Ashe. But let's see how Closer does on the Zeri mid here. Doesn't feel like very much a closer champion, but it is winning against the Corki specifically a lot. And we are seeing so many mid laners just crush even strong mid laners on the Corki with this Zeri pick. That often goes ignored when you have that early AD carry pickup. People are kind of thinking about
in this game number 2, and let's do it. We have game number 2 loaded up. Let's go on to the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Off we go to game number 2. As Keria just recently got a skin from Winning Worlds for Bard.
True.
And I don't think it's available for him to play in this game.
I don't think so.
But they did
Soon.
just recently come out like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe you can give homage anyway. Yeah, he's not using his skin.
Yeah, I don't think it's available in this patch, even on tournament. So we'll see if he can get anything done here at level 1. Hannah will just put down a ward. Cleared. And zombied.
Yeah. Always feels good to get that zombie ward up. And they're going to continue invading Owner on the Lilia. Loves taking Raptors.
He does.
Zeus on a split push pick like the Camille. Here comes Owner invading in onto Duro, but now he's just going to have to flash the wall. Keria just puts down a magical journey kind of into nowhere, but T1 do want to fight this. Just a straight up 4v4 in the jungle, just fighting it up. There's the flash stun onto 2, and the follow-up comes in. Raptor solo, double knockup from Duro, but it just doesn't matter. The damage is taken away, and T1 will pick up 2 kills in one of the most random fights I've ever seen. Raptors again on respawn, and they got a lot more than just the Raptors, we can say. Speaking of which, going in this time, Owner on the Lilia is here once again. He's level 6.
Yeah. Didn't force the cleanse out. Zeus may be in trouble.
Ooh. Okay, well, he is burning a bit, but Equalizer is not going to get the kill. Meanwhile, in mid, there's that level 6. Faker not really concerned. He just wants to get the minions, but he might have to pay for it. The slow comes in, as now looking to turn around. Will try to flash the wall, but Closer's got a flash of his own. Meanwhile, they're diving the bot lane. That's not going very well. They're going to abandon that as the sleep comes in. Duro actually gets stunned up. It will be a kill onto Duro.
So they trade one back anyways as Faker disrespects the Zeri level 6. Down. This Ashe is significantly far ahead of the Jhin. A Jhin that feels so out of place in this draft, especially if they're going to be skirmishing this heavily early.
Well, he found a moment to get this Zeus stat up. He is going to press his R button onto Clear, who does have flash. And there's no more lockdown, so, well, they got the flash out of him, they'll say. Hashtag worth. But now we got to fight in mid once again as Faker's just being run down here by the Zeri. Has his Valkyrie over the wall. It's a big one, though, to the face of Closer as it gets extremely close. And now Duro makes his way in, so Faker has to back away.
The lurk here on said Grubs. Owner was topside.
Yeah, just trying to make a play happen, but Raptor a bit alone. He does have Closer coming up, and the equalizer is good as well. Owner will be taken down. And now Zeus just on the run. The Zeri just getting so much value in this game. Zeus just go back into the pit, but no hook shot and no escape for the top laner of T1. So that's 2 kills now going back over to BNK.
That was a really decisive call from Raptor to look for that ultimate to start the fight off. Closer can.
There he is coming up here. And he does have his ult available. It's just going to hook shot into Clear. BNK unsure about what to do now that Keria shows up. But Zeus is going on in, and he's in a bit of trouble as, uh-oh, the ults have stacked. And now we got a TP coming in. The double stun comes in from Keria. A lot of damage coming out of this Rumble, but there's just too many players coming up to the top side for T1 as Faker's TP does get a lot of value, picks up that kill. But meanwhile, Closer's just getting plates in mid.
Weak Camille, that's not going to be a side lane threat for a very long time, if ever. But we also have this Jhin that wasn't really an 80 carry to begin with, but isn't really going to be relevant in this game for a while.
I'll figure taking a bunch of damage here in mid. And yeah, it really just comes down to where do you want that money. And on the side of BNK, they're looking to really eliminate Zeus from the game. And Hannah's just joined Clear, pushing the top lane. This should be an inner going down already 13 minutes into the game. So not only did they get all the plates in top, they got an extra turret before 14 minutes.
I mean, obviously the gold lead is in BNK's favor right now. You know, they end up getting so much money off of those plays topside there, the inner turret stacking up. Guma will be able to get this turret in return, but it's going to be a Herald taken. I look at this game state, though, heavily favored towards BNK because the Fed Rumble versus, you know, Faker's Corki is pretty even, right? You know, even though he got all in and there was some mistakes made, he's not too far behind. And Guma having a ton of money. You see, Zeus is kind of playing the game up here on the top side, so that's a good look. The Ashe arrow is going to miss. But the Camille's getting money. Rumble's still getting money, but we're getting one player back into the game, sort of, here for T1 versus just furthering that lead for Clear. I think T1 are playing this very well, putting the pressure on in mid, at least trying to use your power point very well there in the mid lane. Speaking of.
Yeah, Hannah came back. He doesn't have flash, and there's a Camille on the enemy team, so he's just going to go down. Doesn't get to play the game, as I said. Raptor also getting ganked in his own jungle by the rest of T1, so a couple of big picks here for the set of T1. There's no objective to really roll this into, but they're trying to really push their lead.
And now I'm going to have to flip back to, I don't favor this game state for BNK anymore, as Closer's going to try to get something done.
All right, the charm in and the knock up here for Keria. He has to flash away Guma as well, being pressured. And now you've got a Rumble right underneath, but the magical journey is so good, and in goes Closer. And he is going to pick up that kill. Now the response, the stun comes in, the cleanse there, and the damage is just huge from the Lilia and from the Corki. They're chasing him down, and the chase potential of this squad is just so huge with these champions. So T1 able to strike back.
It just takes so long for the turnaround there for BNK to get those kills. They get the kill onto Guma, but Lilia shows up, and the front to back basically begins there. And it's just really
trying to return to their base foundation. Okay, we're the team that always fights, always attacks. And they did that, but they got punished. As now, Sleep might be coming in, and no steal this time, but they are going to catch Faker, who does have a magical journey, and he's going to flash into it and get away! And now the three-man Sleep comes in with the bowling ball. Everybody is caught up in this one, and BNK are caught again as the double kill goes over to Owner.
It's another bait! It's another one, Valdez! Triple. And a triple kill goes to Owner, and T1 once again look like fantastic targets. It looks like you have the setup. And man, that play absolutely chef's kiss.
Well, the play from Carrier, too.
Yeah.
I mean, just to lock him down and set up the magical journey. This guy just is... you can't stop him on the bar.
But you set up the big ultimate there, the Tempered Fate, as Faker's just like, all right, come get me. And then he flashes through and they still index into it. And between the two of them, they just knocked B&K out of this game and potentially out of this series. Nice equalizer attempt to maybe steal that one away. Game 2 looked like that wasn't going to be the case until it was. Raptor finds an angle.
Nice cleanse comes in, and there's the arrow to the face, but the charm's still going to land. These two guys kind of caught out, but once again, Tempered Fate comes through, but Guma, no escape for him. Owner a lot more tanky, and Duro just going to go down to mostly Faker and a bit of damage from the Lilia, as, man, Owner is just so incredibly fed at this point. Everything is burning, and Closer maybe gets hit. Nope, it's just going to be the Camille that does get on in. Raptor has to flash clear. There's just nowhere to go. And you gave him Rumble. You felt good about this one for the side of B&K. You get Rumble for clear, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, suddenly you blink your eyes, or maybe if you took a restroom break, you know, a few minutes ago, you're washing your hands, you went and got a beer out of the fridge, you come back, you're like, how does Zeus have 5 kills? What happened in this one? How did that happen? How did that transpire? Last I was looking, he was massively behind. The Rumble was getting inner turrets. It's just, it can change in the blink of an eye with a team like this, and this is the coordination you want. And now everybody's ahead.
Yeah, and once again, we're seeing the value of this Lilia. I mean, it's kind of insane what you can do when you're playing up against a tank jungler and you're playing Lilia, expecting the Sejuani to be picked. The Maokai was banned. Owner's like, yep.
Carry he's up 4 levels because Duro's been in the death chamber half the game.
And for Owner, he didn't really do much in the early game, but eventually it's just become like a insane amount that this Lilia is able to do. You have so much control when you've got Lilia and Bardis. Now we're going to get the root down onto Faker. Another Temper Fate is going to come forward, but there's only so much they can do. A ton of damage goes into Duro as a bit of ticking down does happen from the Lilia. I think the wallets are just that big at this point in time.
Ahead with a late cleanse there, just wanted to see if he could save it. As Carius trying to set up a dive there, we'll wait for this next wave of minions before they go for anything here. I mean, Zaya still has ult, so it's hard for Closer to slide in and look for a play here. Just instantly get locked down by the Hextech ultimatum. So just kind of have to clear waves and cross their fingers that maybe there will be a escape. I mean, this area is on 2 items, now 3, as I say it. That's a big spike, but it might be a little bit too late. 6,500 gold behind.
Yeah. At least for B&K, it is Chemtech Soul. I mean, there is a bit of healing, a little bit of shielding, but they're just trying to posture around mid. I mean, this Baron is about to spawn 10 seconds, and you've got very good turn on the side of T1. You can throw bowling balls, you can throw stuns in from the bar, Tempered Fates. You've got a lot of ways, you know, even a Camille, obviously, to also pressure the side lane, and this is just one way to do it as well, I suppose. The Michaels comes out, gets some value. They're going to catch only Duro as the Equalizer gets some good value. Now B&K looking to try to take this fight. Owner has to flash away, and take a look at Zeus just trying to peel for the team as he's going to have to throw down the ultimatum and flash away.
Okay, well, that was kind of the kind of fight I was talking about for B&K. You end up buffering the Ash arrow there as Raptor.
On the blue buff, and that's about it. And Carrie and Guma are just trying to push them away alongside a Faker, it turns out. Duro just, with the Michaels first, he's just so squishy. I talked about it earlier on, he just doesn't do much, and now Raptor trying to get close to the pit. Here's the turn as well, and T1, they do find it. Zeus not going to pull the trigger on the ultimatum.
No jungler, no equalizer, and T1 can just go straight back to the Baron with no fear here. And no FEARX in the pit. I just don't see any way they can contest. Carrier just going to keep eyes on the B&K players. There's not even a dragon to take here.
What is he doing?
Area?
He's just following them.
Yeah, he's just keeping an eye on them.
Yeah.
Babysitting.
I mean, eventually...
No backs allowed. You can't even buy items. Buy an arrow, because you know where the magical journey ends, actually.
Yeah. The amount of baiting that Carrier has done on this Bard, it has been very fun to watch.
17 out of 18 KP.
Has not died. And just really fast. You know, they have the one Cloud Drake, he's Bard, and he's got Warmogs. And now he's going to find Clear. Mikhails comes down, but Clear is just dead. And eventually, here comes the Sealed Fate as well, or the Tempered Fate, going to catch Raptor, and everybody's just being hit in the face by some gigantic wallets on the side of T1. It is a clean ace, and that will do it for game number 2 in the series. T1 going to go into playoffs with a 2-0 win.
No one really knew what the form was going to look like for T1 in an important match to deny BNK playoffs leading into this week. BNK already had it guaranteed, already had it on lock. I feel like nothing to play for here except the fans for T1. And they did play well for the fans. Gave everybody a show and a very dominant 2-0 showing